The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
You could run a fucking pet rock against Donald Trump, and I would vote for the pet rock.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Critical.
One of the things that drives me nuts as an atheist is that my polling location is at a church. And I don't necessarily have a problem. I'm not going to like burst into flames walking into a church.
Now, after being on this show and having heard your viewpoints on some things, my advice to you is don't test this. I won't burst into flames.
And positively LGBT positive.
In many states, you can still be evicted from housing simply for being gay or transgender. Stand and fight with us.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
Oh, they're shutting us down. They're deplatforming us. I do a pretty good Alex Jones voice. Return the Frogs gay!
Okay, you're sleeping in the child's room tonight because there's no way you're sleeping next to me. That is disgusting. I'm going to have nightmares.
And now, from Orlando, Florida, your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey everybody, welcome to SarahTalk. I am Sarah Austin, your host. If you've been following along on our social media, you'll already know this, but I'll tell you as much as I can at the moment. I'm recording this episode 143, on Sunday, December the 9th. And a week ago today, I was involved in I was the recipient of a really nasty rear-end collision on my way to work. So I spent the night in the emergency room. My vehicle is likely totaled. And now I'm looking at, a month without work and 2 to 3 times a week physical therapy. So that's probably about as much as I can say at the moment, given the legal filings that will be coming. So we decided not to do a live show this week. My face is really banged up pretty bad. I smashed into the steering wheel when I got hit, and so I'm in a lot of pain. Of course, I had my seatbelt on. So the left side of my neck and shoulder are real sore, and I've been, icing it up a lot. And taking some pain medication to try to get through it. But I wanted to put something together for you guys this week because, one, this is therapeutic for me, and I felt like I needed to. I mean, I can still talk to a point, I guess. And I felt like I needed to get in here and do this. And so I'm going to do it in chunks as I'll record as much as I can as I feel good. And then I may have to take breaks and come back and record some more. So that's what's going on with me this week. And at some point, I'm sure I'll be able to tell you the whole story. It's a pretty interesting story. Yeah. So for this week's episode, we're going to call this New Music Monday. Perfect timing, by the way. I was reached out to by a cool musician who happens to be transgender. Her name is Alyssa, and she reached out to me and wanted us to feature her music and talk about an upcoming album. So that was perfect timing for me not feeling well enough to do a 2-hour show bitching about the news. So that's what today's episode is going to be. So let me tell you about Alyssa. Alyssa is a developing recording artist whose new album, Reestablished, is dropping December 21st, and she reached out to us to share 2 singles that these singles are already available on all the digital outlets and streaming services, so you can add them now. And she's given us permission to play these 2 tracks. So YouTube copyright algorithm, if you're listening, we have permission from the artist. But I want to tell you, before we play these tracks, I want to tell you a little bit about the album art. And I'll try to use it in the episode art for this week's show because it's really cool. This artwork was done by Logo Design, Dezine, if you want to look them up on Facebook. And it's sort of like half woman, half robot. And here's how Alyssa describes it. The robotic side represents a rebuilding of who I am and reconstructing my sound. The butterfly represents my metamorphosis into the recording artist I'm becoming. The snake skin is for shutting off the past. And the new feminine face is the reestablished, new and improved artist that I have become. So it's really clever, and I love that it's just so full of meaning that's specific to Alyssa's journey, both as a trans person and as a recording artist. So let's listen to the first track here. This is Excuses by Alyssa. That's Alyssa's Excuses on Z103. Okay, I don't get to do my radio jock thing much anymore, so humor me. Anyway, great stuff, right? Come to find out, she's actually not far from us. She's over in the Tampa Clearwater area here in Florida, so we're working on getting her into the studio sometime after the release, of course, and after I heal up a little bit. So she's having a release party the evening of December 21st at the Quench Lounge over in Largo, Florida. So if you're local and you want to check that out. Let's listen to the second single now from Alyssa's album, Reestablished. This track is called Satisfaction.
What's it gonna take for them to notice me? If the seas of a controversy, yes. I think I gotta take time to get a little crazy. I don't wanna be sick, looking for a new baby. I'm trying to be big, but I'm feeling sexy when I get to know me. We can make that easy. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Yeah, so are you? 'Cause if you are, we can start off at the bottom night. Yeah. Then head to the car, to the beach for some fun under the moonlight. Ow. I feel like I gotta take time to get a little crazy. I don't wanna be sick. You can be my new baby. I'm trying to restrict. 'Cause damn it, you're sexy when I get to know me. We can make that easy. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. You know, I've been bitter for a while now, and I feel like it's time for something new. Baby, what do you think? Do you feel it too? 'Cause I know you do. I feel like I gotta take time to get a little crazy. I don't wanna be sick. You're gonna be my baby. I'm trying to restrict. 'Cause damn it, you're sexy when I get to know me. We can make that easy. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight looking for satisfaction. Oh, tonight I'm looking for satisfaction. Yeah, satisfaction.
Man, that bass line is hot. God, I love that bass. Anyway, thanks again to Alyssa for hooking us up and letting us share those singles with you. Excuses and Satisfaction, both available now at digital music outlets, and the album Reestablished releases December 21st with a launch party at Quench Lounge in Largo, Florida. And you can find links to all of Alyssa's social media in the show notes of this episode, episode 143. So before I close out today, let me also just say, look, if you're an atheist or a queer musician, feel free to hit us up, producer at SarahTalk.com. Be thrilled to feature your music as long as it's not terrible. But I would love to share some music with our listeners that is meaningful in a context of secularism or being queer. I think that would be great. And I would love to do this New Music Monday thing more often. So producer at SarahTalk.com. Send us over your music. I'll check it out and see what we can do. That's going to do it for us this week. Again, hope the short show isn't too short for you, but I'm recording this thing in pieces, even as short as it is, and I'm trying to, I'm trying to keep plugging ahead here despite all the things that have happened, and hopefully I can share that story with you at some point soon. But we want to thank our top patrons for making the show possible every week. Part-time patron Russell, Mandy Imus, Nathan's will not replace us, blood and Patreon dollars, a.k.a. John of the Wayward White Supremacist podcast. The Wayward Willis podcast. And Lamont and Dan. Thank you all so much for contributing to this thing that we do here financially. Your generous donations to the show will probably be paying for my recovery for a little while. So I appreciate that very much. If you'd like to join our great patrons here and get early access to episodes, patron-only content, the video vault, and more, you can go to patreon.com/SarahTalk. And if you're not able to give financially, that's fine too. We understand that. If you want to give us some support, but you can't give financially, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or anywhere else that you listen to the show. Our thanks again to Alyssa. Again, get links to her social in the show notes and check out her music. Thanks for listening, and I'll post announcements on our Facebook to let you know if we're going to be back live next week. I'm not really sure. We're just kind of taking it day by day right now. So thank you all so much for supporting us and listening to the show. You've been listening to Sarah Talk.
Sarah Talk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. The opinions and information provided on this show are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of the hosts and their guests. We make no representations as to accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or validity of any information and will not be liable for any errors or damages. Sarah Talk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.